The first time I saw her, she wasn't a warrior, a diplomat, or the terrifying enemy our commanders had warned us about. She was broken. We had just finished sweeping the ruins of Lara Station, a once bustling hub now reduced to fire and smoke after the latest clash between humans and the Carthari. My squad had been ordered to secure survivors, though survivors was an optimistic word for what remained. The halls were littered with debris, plasma-scorched walls, and the acrid stench of burning fuel. I found her slumped against the wreckage of a collapsed bulkhead, her breathing ragged. She wasn't human. Her violet skin shimmered faintly beneath the grime, and her silver hair clung to her face with streaks of blood. Armor fragments clung to her frame, though most of it had been shredded apart by shrapnel. Her left arm was clutched tightly to her side. When her eyes met mine, they burned like stars, piercing, accusing. "You," she rasped, her voice guttural yet clear. Slowly, she moved her hand away from her torso, revealing a deep wound seared across her ribs. The charred flesh still glowed faintly, cauterized badly by some battlefield blast. "This pain is yours to answer for." Her words hit me harder than any plasma bolt. I should have raised my rifle. Protocol demanded it. But something in her expression stopped me. It wasn't just rage. It was desperation, grief buried under fury. "Easy," I said, lowering my weapon. "I'm not here to finish you off." "Lies," she spat weakly. "All humans bring is destruction. My people bleed because of you." Her head slumped forward, but not before her gaze seared itself into my mind. I didn't even know her name, but in that moment, she made me feel like I personally carried the weight of her suffering. And maybe I did. The beginning of blame. Back aboard the Resolute, our field medics patched her up. Against regulation, I had carried her back myself, refusing to leave her to die in the rubble. Command wasn't pleased. To them, she was just an enemy combatant, useful for intel at best, a liability at worst. But when she awoke in the infirmary, her first act wasn't to thank or curse me. It was to glare, teeth bared, and repeat, "This pain is yours to answer for." Her name, I later learned, was Soraya of the Carthari Dominion. A soldier, yes, but also something more. Her insignia marked her as a bloodguard, elite defenders sworn to protect their leaders. Capturing her should have been a triumph. To me, it felt like staring at a wound I couldn't close. Every interaction was the same. When I brought her food, she shoved it away. When I asked questions, she responded with venom. And always, she circled back to her wound. "You think you're noble for keeping me alive. You inflicted this. Not your hand but your species. Every ship you build, every weapon you fire, every colony you take, it carves into us like this." Had no answer. I wanted to argue, to tell her humans weren't monsters, that we were just fighting to survive like anyone else. But when she pulled back her bandages and showed the raw, angry scar, I felt her accusation in my bones. It wasn't just her wound. It was the sum of all of them. Every burned city, every orphaned child, every shattered world left in the wake of war. And somehow she needed me to carry it. A rift between enemies. Days turned into weeks. I visited her often, against my better judgment. My squad mates mocked me, calling me the alien's caretaker. Maybe they were right. But every time Soraya looked at me, I felt the weight of something I couldn't explain. One night, she asked a question that nearly broke me. "Do humans even remember who fires the first shot? Or do you invent stories so your conscience stays clean?" Her voice was cold, but her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted her bandages. "I don't know anymore," I admitted. "Maybe both sides are guilty. Maybe neither of us are innocent." She studied me for a long time, as if measuring whether my words were truth or cowardice. Finally, she shook her head. Convenient. You drown whole worlds, then shrug and say, "We all bleed." That is no answer. Her words stayed with me even after I left the infirmary. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her wound, glowing faintly, a brand of guilt etched into alien flesh. I started digging into reports, trying to understand what had really happened at Lareth Station. What I found made me sick. The tactical strike we'd launched wasn't aimed at a military outpost. The Carthari had been evacuating civilians. Entire families had been caught in the blast. Her pain was ours to answer for. Fragile trust. The next time I saw Soraya, I didn't bring food or questions. I brought truth. "We destroyed your people's refuge," I said quietly. "Not just soldiers. Families. Children." I didn't know. But I know now. For the first time, she didn't respond with anger. Instead, her eyes glistened. Not with tears but something rawer. "My sister," she whispered. She was there. I was her protector. I failed her. The weight of her words nearly crushed me. I wanted to tell her it wasn't her fault, that no one could have stopped it. But I knew empty comfort would only deepen the wound. "I can't undo what happened," I said instead. "But maybe I can stand with you, not against you." Her gaze softened just slightly. "Not forgiveness. Not yet." But the wall between us cracked. From then on, our conversations changed. She told me about her homeworld, the crystalline forests of Vera, where sunlight refracted like rainbows through every tree. She spoke of the bond rites, where warriors swore oaths not just to leaders, but to the very souls of their people. And slowly she asked about Earth. I told her of oceans, of storms that raged for days, of mountains that pierced the clouds, of music, laughter, and foolish human traditions like fireworks and paper lanterns. One evening she surprised me by asking, "Do your people sing for the dead?" "Yes," I said softly. "We sing so we remember." Her eyes closed, and for the first time, she let silence pass without hostility. The middle choice in the shadows. But the war didn't pause for us. Orders came down. Soraya was to be transferred to a secure interrogation facility. Command wanted whatever intel they could rip from her, and they didn't care if she broke in the process. I couldn't let that happen. When I told her, she didn't look surprised. "Of course. To you I am just leverage. A tool." "You're not," I insisted. "Not to me." She tilted her head, studying me. "Then prove it." That night I made my choice. I smuggled her out, past patrols and security scans, down into the maintenance bays. Every step felt like betrayal, of my uniform, my comrades, my duty. But when I looked at her, I knew it was the only path forward. At the edge of the launch deck she paused. "Why?" she asked. "Why risk everything for me? You are human. I am Carthari. My pain is yours to answer for, yet you carry it willingly." "Because," I said, "if I let them treat you like nothing, then I'm proving you right. That we're monsters. I can't live with that." For a moment I thought she might refuse. Then slowly she reached out and placed her hand over mine. Her scarred side still bore the mark of our war, but her touch was steady. "Perhaps," she said softly, "there is a different answer than vengeance. The ending, shared wound." I never saw Earth again. By helping Soraya escape, I burned every bridge back to my people. The galaxy branded me a traitor,